Welcome, everybody, to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Yes, I have even decided to turn up for one of my own podcasts. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and I'm joined by my illustrious co-host and, well, the main host last week, Mr. Adam Cousins. Adam, how are you, mate? Good to finally be on a podcast with you.
Yeah, no, it seems like for ages, mate. But you, as I said to Santino, and that you were delivering beer to the nation, which is like delivering pizza to Italy.
Yes, mate. If we did not deliver beer, mate, there would be absolute carnage. So we are here to review last Friday's Smackdown, hailing from the Ohio State University. Wrestling's in we've said quite a few times before, like the state of flux after WrestleMania. This Smackdown definitely had the feel of a draft is a week away, a filler pay-per-view, in my opinion, is 2 weeks away. What did you make of SmackDown as a whole before we start breaking it down? Are you like a lot of wrestling fans are always like, it's always like this time of year, you know what I mean? It's kind of like we've said the bit in between WrestleMania kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought the matches were all right, but I just felt that it was just a nothing show. Really, it didn't do a lot even to hype up because Kevin and Sammy weren't there, so it didn't even do anything to hype next week's show other than the draft. And what I found out since is that NXT guys are included, but NXT are not getting picks. So in other words, their roster's going to get sabotaged.
Yeah, basically the roster is going to be depleted.
Yeah, but on the other side to that, they have the guys that they have from Level Up that come on. So, but yeah, SmackDown itself, I'm going to say match quality was fine, but it felt like a nothing show.
Yeah, I mean, it opened up with Finn and Damian Priest versus the LWO. I mean, what do you make of? Obviously, I've been keeping up with. I know I haven't been on any podcasts the last week, but they seem to be incorporating the LWO kind of a little bit more in the bloodline. Is that just they're filling in, or will they play a bigger part in the storyline movie? Obviously, we don't know what's happening. The draft is next week, so this could all just be, kind of the LWO are just there to fill a spot. Like you say, we didn't have KO and Sammy. We haven't seen Roman since Monday Night Raw after Mania. Where are you with the whole LWO thing? A lot of people were glad they brought them back, or just WWE being very clever. They're in Puerto Rico next week. Of course, they're going to bring back the LWO.
They're not stupid, that's for sure. I don't know. I would like to. I mean, if they're going to continue with these groups of three, then like a trios. AEW did a trios division, and I mentioned to it quite recently. I can't remember who it was on the pod now about is two now becoming the three? Is three now becoming the new two? So I'd like to think if they're going to stick with the Judgment Day and the Bloodline, we know will be around in some stretch, then it's always best to keep them together. I think, and I like the concept. But the LWO is technically a four.
Yeah, it's from the WCW days, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but the LWO is on SmackDown is a four. It's Ray, Santos, Raul, and the others are five if you count Selena.
Yeah.
So it's 4.5 because she's about 3'8".
Couldn't end up like the NWO, mate. There could be about 50 people in it come the end of the month. You have an idea.
Yeah.
But you remember everyone was in the NWO, weren't they? By the end of
it, they got beat up one week and then they joined the NWO the next week.
Yeah,
but I thought the match was fine. Actually, it was good. The only concern I have, and I'm going to get into this a bit later as well, is they brought the LWO back, which is great, but they're just jobbing out. I think Priest beat Ray on Raw. I'm pretty sure.
I
should know.
Yeah, you reviewed it.
Yeah, I know. I reviewed it. I should know these things. I just think it's great, but just don't. If they are going to be serious with them, then don't keep jobbing them out.
Yeah, WWE do that with a lot of people. Talking of jobbing out, let's moving on to Raw. You've done some really good tag team shows recently, and we've mentioned tag teams quite a lot. We had Braun and Ricochet versus the Viking Raiders, and one of the worst botches I think I've ever seen. But a lot of people put it on Braun Strowman as well. It wasn't his fault that the certain Viking Raider wasn't in the middle of the ring when he launched Ricochet halfway across the ring. And it was on my notes here. I put, what is the point of Braun and Ricochet? I get the point of the Viking Raiders. They are a tag team. And like you've said to me many, many times, and like you said and you've done a few podcasts when you had Beers and Beats Down on, you made the point of like tag teams being put together, and, you guys went into it in depth. I'm just, that match come on, I was just like, I don't care.
No.
Honestly, don't care. I don't get the point of they brought Strowman. Triple H brought Strowman back, and like many people that he's brought back, they're just kind of not doing anything. I mean, this match will just be remembered for Ricochet getting launched half a mile across the ring, and I don't know which one of the Viking Raiders was missed his spot.
Ivar, I think.
Yeah, he was. That's not on Strowman, but it's and then he fell over on the ring apron. It was just a disaster. The ending was quite good, but Ricochet done what he done. But my whole point is, what's the end goal with Strowman, with Ricochet? Again, is this us again? We could say this about every match leading into next Friday. Is this again wait for the shake-up of the draft, or do they do a draft and them two are still together? Because I don't really see where they're going to go with them. Ricochet had a little title run, didn't he, a couple of years back when he Intercontinental title?
Well, Gunther won it off of him.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Strowman, he was a main player. What 4 years ago? He was involved in title matches and held a belt. But I don't know, mate. What do you reckon? I mean, the match was okay. I didn't, like I say here in my notes here, I've just got what was the point.
Yeah, or at least they had a bit of build-up. They got attacked the week before.
Well, we can get into that later on some of the. So I know you guys, you and Dave, is it, are doing the AEW review show tomorrow. That's going to be interesting because I won't lie, mate. I've made it through half of last week's Dynamite and was oh boy, so I'm going to be very. But again, you're talking build-up, and we're going to get into the Backlash matches before we finish this up. Some of them that have been announced, but I know you weren't very. You texted me on Saturday morning, you weren't very happy. But Braun, Ricochet, mate. I don't know what WWE doing here. I mean, we know Vince used to love his big guys, but I just don't see any long-term future for them that's going to be of any note or any worth.
I think the biggest problem with Braun personally was Hunter just brought back too many. Yeah, every week we were getting 2 or 3. We're like, good, this is great, but it's like and we'll probably get into Karrion Kross in a little bit. He was another one that got brought back in, and
I just cutting promos backstage.
Yeah, Braun and Ricochet got brought together by that whole Braun taking a piss out of like trampoline wrestling on Twitter, and then they had a match. I can't remember who won it, and then the next thing you know, they're helping each other out. Typical kind of WWE. Don't know what to do with either of you, so we play together and hope for the best. Do they get split up in the draft? Probably. But again, even when they do, what are you going to do? What is Braun going to do? Because he's not, we're not expecting him anywhere near Roman anytime soon.
I'm expecting him anywhere near Gunther, near Roman, near
he had a little
Austin
feud
Theory,
with Gunther, didn't he? He had a little feud with Gunther, and it fell. I think Gunther might have beaten him.
Unless they throw him in instead of obviously, you don't know what's happening with Drew McIntyre. I mean, he could be thrown, Strowman could be thrown into that kind of him, Sheamus.
Yeah, Ricochet would be far better down back in NXT, and that's not because he isn't great or he's not good. He's great, but the problem is that roster's so stacked. Is where do you put him? And he'd be someone. He'd be someone like that'd be Dolph Ziggler's next partner. We know how many partners Dolph Ziggler's had over the years or something like that, just to get him back on the card, but. Yeah, I don't know.
The high flyers don't seem to be. Just one thing I do like about. I know we get into it all the time about trampoline wrestling, and again, they did have some serious trampoline wrestling on Dynamite last week, which I know you guys are going to get into tomorrow. But the WWE, obviously, you've got Rey Mysterio. He's always going to be known as a high flyer, even if he's at the tail end of his career. They don't seem to have that anymore. If you know what I mean. If you go back in the, like we always mention, like the Attitude Era and stuff like that, even if you look at people like when the 1, 2, 3 Kid burst on, Sean Waltman, when he burst onto the scene, I would regard him as a high flyer when he first started. They had some great high flyer. For me now, it's gone out of WWE outside of Ray, and obviously you got a couple of members of the LWO and Ricochet. But if you're looking at the main rosters, look at Mondays and Fridays. Especially Monday Night Raw, if you had to go, pick me a high flyer match that you really want to watch. Couldn't really name you any.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head, and I can't think of anyone. Just a side note before we carry on: if you ever do watch Main Event, and I know you don't, but if anyone watches Main Event, you need to check out Tyler Bate and Dolph Ziggler
from last week.
Oh my god,
incredible!
Jesus, I remember when Cedric Alexander and Ricochet had some clinics on a. Main Event, and I saw it. Someone tweeted it, and I was watching it the other day. It was fucking amazing. High flyer on Raw is Mustafa Ali is the only one now. Just come to my head because we were talking about Main Event.
Yeah, I will know. I'll definitely go and check out the Dolph Ziggler match. But yeah, it just seems to be something that's missing from WWE at the minute. It's something that AEW do relatively well. Again, like I say, I know you're going to get into it tomorrow, but the women's tag team titles were defended on SmackDown. Liv and Raquel versus Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green.
Yes.
But the best in my notes of that match, the best bit of that match was Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett used the term, "Is the referee pulling my plonker?"
Yeah, I remember.
I could just had visions of all these Americans going, "What did
What
he
was
just
he
say?"
talking about? Yeah.
And again, that was the highlight for me. I mean, the end was the end. Splash some water in someone's face and a roll up and I don't know, mate. I'm not quite sure what they're doing with the. Again, I don't want to come back to it, but I'm not quite sure what they're doing with the women's wrestling right now. I know Trish is obviously getting the big heel push on Raw. And again, is this another one? The tag team titles backlash, are they really, I don't really know what they're doing. It's such a downward spiral again for women's wrestling.
It is. And
Charlotte's nowhere to be seen. She's having another break.
She's having another holiday with Andrade.
It's been advertised on the SummerSlam poster, so I'm guessing she'll be back before SummerSlam. That's a long way off.
She'll be back before the big pay-per-views.
Oh no, what are you trying to say, mate? But yeah, what did you make of the whole tag team women's match on SmackDown? Again, pretty much like the whole show though. I was just sitting there like,
yeah, I wasn't a fan at all. I mean, Chelsea Green's far better than her character. She's a far better wrestler than that. And Sonya Deville. We keep saying this. There is a lot of these four are great as singles. But the tag match, Jesus, it was rough for me.
And that's not just the women. You could say that apart from the main event, which you'll get to. Oh, even Xavier Woods versus Gunther wasn't exactly a classic.
What was I going to say? Oh, just a sidetrack on Trish. And I was actually just thinking about this when you were talking about the heel promo, and we're saying that she may not go against Becky Lynch until SummerSlam. And it got me thinking: is she the one that takes the title off of Bianca?
Ooh.
It's just come up in my head. I don't know because I can't see anyone beating
Night of Champions.
Somewhere it doesn't have to mean before SummerSlam, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe Becky Lynch wins it that way. I don't know.
SummerSlam,
I'm thinking out loud, but roll on the draft. They're going to have to draft some women up onto that roster. They got to.
Who though? Who would you say?
Zoe Starks. I think her name's Zoe Starks. I hope I've said that right. I've mentioned them before. Zoe Starks. They're so Roker, but I don't know if it's too early for her. Roxanne Perez, because she was already a star before she went in NXT. She was up at Ring of Honor before, obviously, left and got brought out. Cora Jade, but if you're going to call her up, you've got to call Braun Breaker up because they're a couple, so you know what they're like now. They like to put them together instead of separating. Off the top of my head, Tiffany Stratton. Again, I don't know if it's too early for them, but Indy Hartwell, but she's a champion. But you could bring her up, and then Gargano could create the way again because he had that in NXT, but he won't get Austin Theory back in that. But they need that. Those are the ones that scream out to me, the ones that I would call up. But then it's kind of what happens to that division down there. Sean won't be too happy with that.
Outside of the big guns, though, I think this draft is looking quite weak. You look at, obviously, we don't know what's happening with the Usos and Roman. Are they splitting the belts up? Is one of the belts getting drafted? And that's going to be a whole new storyline, yada, yada, yada. But if you look further down the roster, it doesn't really excite me with whoever goes between Raw and SmackDown. I mean, I'm not a big Matt Riddle fan. If I can
notice that.
Yeah, send him wherever you want. I don't really care. Middle of the ocean and leave him there. Gunther, I hope he gets the push that he deserves. I hope we get him and Roman Reigns while Roman Reigns has got the titles. I don't know if he'll take the titles off him. I just hope they put them two in a match before it's. I don't want to see it 2-3 years down the line when they should do it soon. They've kind of teased it with them. They've been in the ring a couple of times together. But do you think we see Gunther get that push after the draft? Leading up to Money in the Bank, SummerSlam. I mean, he went up against Xavier Woods this week, and again, that was another. Well, we don't really know what to do with Xavier Woods because all of New Day are injured. So okay, you'll have a match against Gunther, and it was all right. But again, you were like, it's okay. But Xavier Woods in singles matches, again,
it was good in TNA. is a single.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Austin Creed, I think his
Austin
name.
Creed, yeah, done some good
Yeah,
promos as well in TNA.
he does.
But good for one that match with a sleeper.
Another move to his arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. I
Um,
was a bit like, I just ended this match with a sleeper. You can
that's
see some.
classic wrestling.
Yeah, well, if you watched wrestling in the 80s
They're a
and
$1 million dream.
yeah, the $1 million dream was Mr. Perfect. Sometimes used to win matches with it, not using the perfect plex, and yeah, but you could see some of the fans in the crowd thinking, "Oh, what's happened there? Did someone just win with
Yes.
a sleeper hold?"
This crowd is what you call wrestling. It's something that you don't really know about a lot about these days
No,
because you never see it.
no, exactly. Yes, I suppose all the nice
Gunther and Roman. No, I think they're probably gonna annoy you here, but I personally think they're
Don't
gonna.
say Matt Riddle.
No, no, no,
Oh, thank God for that.
No, not Riddle. It could be worse though, because I think they're going to go with the winner out of the Seth and Omos match at Backlash to go ahead against him at the Night of Champions, perhaps.
You mentioned it there. Should we touch on the
Yeah.
Backlash card that's been announced? Mate, you were texting me some of the I think some of them got announced like Monday last week, and you were screenshotting them to me. And I was like, "What are you messaging me?" I thought you'd just been like on your paint shop on your computer or something. You were just making things up. Yeah. You got old school, mate. But yeah, Seth versus Omos. I mean, where, why, how, what? I don't get it.
I think it took Seth by surprise because he went to Twitter and went, "Oh, alrighty then." I have no clue where that come from. I have absolutely no clue. It's like the Tony Khan random match generation. That's just, maybe Triple H thought, no, maybe not Triple H. Let's be honest. We know who likes giants in the WWE. I have no idea where that came from, and I'm not looking forward to it one bit.
No, I saw that and I was like, this is lit. Don't get me wrong, I watched the pay-per-view because it's on a Saturday night. That's really the only thing. If this was a Sunday, normal old school,
chance.
me and you call old school pay-per-view, Sunday, not a chance in hell.
No
way would I think about staying up until 1 o'clock in the morning to watch that.
They managed to get a pass with Lesnar and Omos at WrestleMania just because it was short and it was to the point. But how we realistically expect? Vince Russo would always paint this picture and even when we spoke to him, he was like, if this were a real fight, I'm not saying real because it's not fake, it's choreographed. Yeah, I know. Yeah, they know who wins. But if you were put in this 7'3" fucking fridge against Seth Rollins, who ain't exactly a slouch, he's probably 6'1", 6'2", and weighs about 100 pounds less. But reality is, how would he beat him? He wouldn't. That's the only thing he probably could do is he could run around the ring and do the conditioning thing and perhaps tire him.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know. I don't even know how.
Unless it's leading to something else, it's not really going to happen. It's going to be someone's going to cost Seth the match. Yeah, again, mate, this is just a glorified house show. This pay per view. Yeah. I mean, they just want to get to the draft. They want to get. They're going to Puerto Rico.
The draft will be done.
The draft will be done, but none of this.
It'll be these moves happen next week, so it gets the pay-per-view out.
Yeah, of course. The pay-per-view will get out of the way, all the people from Puerto Rico are going to get, you got your priest and you got the women's title match as well. And
Bad Bunny. And
there could be but unless the KO and Sammy have dropped the belts before then, because they're in a 3, their titles aren't even on the line here. But obviously, no, they've got the rematch with the Usos. That'll be good. The rematch with the Usos next week on Smackdown.
Well, it will be. It will be.
That'll be interesting if they win it. Say the Usos won it back and then got split. One goes Raw, one goes SmackDown.
Well, yeah.
Then what'd you do?
Well, I forgot to mention on the Raw review, and this is me being very novice-y, that the Street Profits were talking about about them potentially, and that's how they probably will do the split, because they probably want to keep them both face. Probably Angelo goes to SmackDown, I would have thought. Just, I don't know. Or does Montez go against Gunther? Oh, maybe. But regardless of that, I mean, Usos, you're right, could win and split.
KO and Sammy could retain and split.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing about Kevin and Sammy at the minute is they'll have to relinquish them before Night of Champions.
That's the next pay-per-view after. Yeah, they don't go to Saudi Arabia.
Don't go to Saudi Arabia. And Night of Champions has been notoriously every title is defended. Obviously, that's how Roman was there, which is what you were saying about that they wouldn't go to Saudi Arabia about Roman Reigns.
Oh, no way.
It's 1,000 days, so he
He's going to
That's
win.
the celebration, isn't it? And then maybe his next challenger comes out at that point, or maybe he defends at that point. However, the one match I would say that I'm very much looking forward to at Backlash was the match another match that got announced off the cuff. But when I saw it, I was like, great, which is Theory, Lashley, and Bronson.
That'll be a good match. That'll be a good match. I hope they give him the time that it needs as well. I hope it's not just a quick 10, 15-minute squash. Could this be the only match on the pay-per-view where the title... It's not going to happen. I'm just, I'm fantasy booking here, really. I don't think any titles will change. But could Austin Theory, in theory, drop zero? Yeah, thank you. See, maybe Bobby Lashley gets the title back. Again, we'll know more after the draft on Friday and where, if they want to stack SmackDown with these champions or Raw with these champions. Could that be the only one? Because I think potentially they might give the Puerto Rican audience a title change, and it might be that.
I don't think they will.
No. I'd be very shocked if they did.
I do think that Gunther and Theory will switch.
Okay.
It's whether Kaiser and Vinci go with him, because obviously they're going to be separate.
Imperium, yeah.
I do think they're going to switch, and I think that makes sense because obviously then they can the Intercontinental title, especially if Roman's still the champ, well, he will be at that point. At least the Intercontinental title and Gunther is going to be on Raw then, and that's no disrespect to Austin Theory, but if you're going to have a championship on as the main title on your show, I would rather Gunther with the IC than Theory with US currently. Anyway, and Theory can go to SmackDown and they can, obviously they'll do changes. But I don't think they will. I mean, what else? There's a women's championship's been announced on it yet? They haven't, have they? I don't think.
Yeah, it's on Backlash.
Is it?
Well, they said they need to speak to higher management, didn't they? Rhea Ripley versus.
That's been confirmed. So that one is happening. Well, Rhea's coming out of that winning. That's fine. More about Bianca and
Bianca's. She's not on the card at Backlash. I don't think. Not that, unless I'm being completely stupid. And
I haven't seen her.
No, unless we'll get something
on Monday.
Tomorrow. Yeah, we're recording this on Sunday. Yeah, so tomorrow, unless she gets something. I mean,
I can't see her dropping at Backlash though. I'm thinking the women's titles might drop a tag because they're nothing anyway. I mean, even Corey Graves come out and said he's done enough. He's not pulled up any trees. No. Fucking hell, hasn't even planted a tree to pull up.
Planted it, watered it, seeded it, nothing. Hasn't done anything. Then obviously, they announced on SmackDown this week that the Usos are getting a rematch next week. Yeah. That's going to be good. Like I said, Cross had a interesting backstage promo.
Yes.
Now coming for Nakamura. And Nakamura had a dark match against LA Knight at SmackDown, which I saw someone tweeted out. Funny enough, I was like, "Why did you put on the main show?" Now they give Nakamura this big "I'm returning," and he returns next week, and then this week,
nothing.
No to be seen.
No, so follow up with Moss either.
No follow up with Moss, and he's now going to be fighting Cross. I'm guessing at some stage. I don't know where that's come from.
Backlash.
It might be. Could be another one. That could be like on the kickoff show or something. I reckon because there's going to be an hour-long kickoff show that could be on. Yeah, that's going to be on there. And again, I was just watching that. I was watching the segment, the backstage interview, just thinking, well, it may be promo that they pre-recorded. Just like, who wants to see? I don't know. The draft is going to. So many things are going to depend on this draft. But that took us to Solo versus my mate Matt Riddle. Yeah. In the main event in a no DQ, mate. Yeah, I mean, what did you? It was all right. The main event, the whole table spot again with Riddle, and he's got strong legs and he's pushing back. Well done, Matt Riddle. Solo again. As soon as they announced no disqualification, you're kind of like, well, every other bloodline match for the last 2 years has been interference, so we kind of knew where it's going. But what did you make of? And it didn't really do anything for anyone, really, did it? So
no.
Solo won.
Yep.
The Usos come down, beat the living bejesus out of Matt Riddle. KO and Sammy weren't there to make any sort of set. I don't know why weren't they on SmackDown? Surely you'd be like, you've got to have, apart from Gunther, you've got nothing.
No, I don't know why they wasn't on. The match was fine. The only thing I would say is, are we going to get overexposed with Solo early? And I know they're trying to get him over. We know where they're trying to go with this, but it's like if we keep because he's on Raw and SmackDown, and this is where they're going to have to. And we know WWE won't, but if you're on Black and SmackDown, you stay on
Stay there.
SmackDown.
Yeah, that
You
won't
do
happen.
not cross to Raw, and so whatever happens, and the argument is going to be we're going to be overexposed with
Mm,
Solo Sikoa
yep.
because and by the time he then potentially goes against Roman, which is where it looks like it's going, we're going to be like, well, we don't care because you're throwing Solo down, and Solo's great, by the way. I love Solo. I think he's got the music, he's got
Well, look.
the look, he's just everything. There's everything about it. He doesn't have to. He may need a manager to cut a promo, perhaps, because
That's where
he's
Paul
genuinely
Heyman could come in.
Paul Heyman could say Roman, he
Mm,
could do what he's done about 1,000 times and double cross Roman to Solo because he needs a mouthpiece because he's not I don't know if he's the greatest talker or what, but he's not someone that you want to talk. He's like the silent assassin, isn't he? He
mm,
just comes in the ring, beats the living bejesus out of you, and then goes, and
mm,
that's what he does. So he doesn't need to talk, and at the moment he's got the Usos doing all the talking,
mm-hmm.
pretty much in their sort of yeets and Christ knows what else they come out with every week.
Yeah, what was that promo that they cut before? Oh my god! I was like, what on earth are they doing? But I think that's where we are with wrestling at the minute, mate. I think you've got to be. I always say that this time of year, you've got to be a proper diehard wrestling fan to watch what's going on right now
Yeah.
because a lot of the casuals have gone. They'll be back for WrestleMania next year.
Oh yeah.
They'll be back for the Royal Rumble. But it's people like me, you, and all the other people out there that are just WWE hardcore wrestling fans. You've got to get through this next 2 months.
Yeah, definitely. But I think, and maybe this has been said so many times before, but they've got to get the draft right. That's the thing now. They have to get it right. It's no good Triple H coming out and go, oh, the game's going to change and all this shit.
If
If
nothing changes.
if this goes tits up,
Mm.
it's going to be really tough, even without Vince doing anything, or if he's just a soundboard or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to get the split right, and you've got to address the problems. Women's division, major problem. They're going to need to address that. They need to get the call ups right. Like, who are they going to call up? I mean, because Cameron Grimes has been doing nothing but getting into like he's built like a fridge now, So does that mean, he's going to come up? Because apparently, as technically about it, they're saved the pre or post WrestleMania call ups
Yeah.
for now. So you look at that. I mean, Braun Breaker's doing that pretty much nothing, and it's kind of like near enough a guarantee that he's going to be called up. But then they can't call up Carmelo Hayes, who just won the title.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be stupid to do that because you've got to give him a run. So Breaker's been there doing it for what, 18 months?
Yeah, something like that, 18, 19 months.
And he's been at the top for that long. So
Yeah.
he needs to go. Cameron Grimes, makes sense. But again, what does he do? Because you can't see him beating Gunter. No chance. I don't know who's going to beat Gunter, and at the same time, does he beat Austin? I can't even see him beating Austin Theory. Really?
I think I don't know how they'll do it. I think Sami Zayn will end up being the IC champion.
But eventually, maybe. Yeah.
Because I don't think he's quite ready to. It was good seeing him go with the whole Roman, and when we thought he was going to win it, but you've now clearly got a path of where WWE want to. Well, you say you've clearly got a path. I haven't got a clue. Roman's gonna. It's going to involve Brock Lesnar or Cody Rhodes somehow, I think.
That's the thing, though. And even with like Kevin Owens, what does he do at the end of this? Say you haven't got that world title on both shows.
No.
And SmackDown's clearly their number one choice because, I suppose Fox paid more money than the USA did for which are now being discussed now, the rights for. I think they come up next year, but they're in discussions now.
Already. Yeah.
And obviously with Endeavor and them lot, they're not going to, I don't know what they end up doing, but it's
Conor McGregor gets drafted to Raw.
No, I don't think we're going to be. I don't think we're going to be playing that game yet.
Could you imagine? But I don't know, mate. But so obviously Solo won. The Usos got the beatdown, and Smackdown went off of the air. I mean, it was a hard watch. I'm not gonna lie, it's a hard watch. The pay-per-view hasn't really got me that excited. I'll watch it again because it's a Saturday night. It's quite handy. But I'm with you. They need to get this draft right. next Friday, starting Friday, obviously, and then Monday.
No coincidence. There's NFL Draft 2 day at the same day.
The mighty Washington Commanders are going to just rock that draft, mate. Just going to throw that out there now. We're going to be awesome next year.
You're going to sign Benson and Hedges.
I'll take Benson and Hedges right now, the way we've been playing the last few seasons. But ads, always good to talk some wrestling, mate. What have we got coming up in the next week? I know you're back with the AEW review show tomorrow.
My good mate, the AEW guru. I met up with him Friday in London. Dave Robinson. He's a massive AEW fan, so I've got him doing it. I need to get the Google Calendar up, my friend, because we have got a shit ton of stuff going on.
Every time I get an email, it's from you inviting me to a Zoom call.
So tomorrow, very late, we've got the other one of our NWA Red Winds, Sour and Arrows coming on with Fiona from Inside the Ropes. Rejoin us as long as she gets back to Scotland, because
she's been down in God's country this week. She's been down in London.
She's been carting across Will Ospreay and Lance Archer, and there was another one that she was taking to events.
Hard life being Fiona, it's hard life.
Very hard life, but
someone's got to do it. She does a great job.
Yeah, so she's going to be joining us with our sleeping bags tomorrow night at 11. I was going to say Tuesday, but I can't discuss that.
Don't do that one, mate. Don't do that out of the bag.
Wednesday, while you're delivering beer to the nation, I will be having a chat. I'm going to be fanboying.
Yeah, I'll try my best to join from the truck, but no, I will probably be.
I can happily cover that one. I'm going to be fanboying because it's one of my favourite dart players of all time, Paul Nicholson, massive wrestling fan. He supports Newcastle, so we're probably going to get a bit of abuse after the 6-1 mauling today. We won't talk about that. Thursday, it's Rusev Day. We have, I've got to get this surname right. Can't call him made in English.
You're definitely doing the intro on Thursday, by the way. Do not let me do that.
So 8 o'clock our time. I think it's 8 o'clock our time. I'll put it on there. Yeah, 8 o'clock our time. We're meeting Matt Ridwald. I'm gonna have to ask him.
You better practice, mate, because I'm gonna screw that up.
I'll ask him off air.
Yeah.
So we got him, and then next weekend, not this time next week, but this day next week, Turnbuckle, myself, and the Instagram queen upstairs will be attending the bitter end from Ignite. Going down to see CJ Carter and the boys ahead of our Buckle Up pay-per-view. Might as well be. Buckle Up show in July. The following week, next week, I've potentially got a guest lined up before Flash, but I can't talk about that yet. But next May the 4th be with us. We have Flash Morgan Webster, former WWE NXT Tag Team Champion. He's 8:45. He'll be joining us on here by the time he goes out. Sometime later on that night. The following week, we have Bobby Fish joining us, which will be the Professor of Wrestling. Will be joining us. The week after, well, we've got somebody that decided that he was coming on the show before we even announced him.
We did, yeah. He hijacked us.
Yes, thanks, Just Incredible. You will be on the show to talk all things ECW. So anyone old ECW fans out there, get your questions in for Justin.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, it's some busy times coming up for us, mate. And are we still not finished? Okay.
Right. No. There's going to be, I can tell you is there's going to be one sandwiched in probably on the 23rd of May, and that should be announced tomorrow or Tuesday. There will probably be one on the June the 1st, but again, I'll probably be later on this week. I'll be able to announce that. But the week before my birthday, which is probably like a birthday present for me, we have Angelina Love coming on.
That's going to be a birthday present for all of us.
Happy
birthday to everyone.
Happy birthday to everyone. And of course, we've got Ignite, Buckle Up with Ignite Wrestling Pro on the 23rd of July. We will have next week. Sorry, I had got that wrong. Well, I said I've got one sandwiched in between Flash Morgan Webster. We will have Corey McRae and Smashing Mike and CJ Carter on. I'm guessing it's going to be the 2nd or the 3rd of May. That will be promoting Buckle Up. So more will be announced the weekend, and we'll follow up with those guys coming on. Now we need to quickly shout out sponsors. Pro Wrestling Carnage, Beers and Beatdowns, who we're going to be on their merch coming soon. We'll obviously make sure we have to tap them up for some freebies on that.
Yes, please.
We're going to be doing that. Obviously, Ignite Wrestling Pro, who I've already mentioned. Corey McRae, who I've already mentioned. He's been over in Austria, kicking ass over there. And Matt Cast, the dart player, who in a couple of weeks, we'll be hopefully winning some cash. And
come on, Matty boy.
Yes, I've been watching the darts. Obviously, Nicholson's been commentating on it. So
Yeah. No, yeah, mate. It's what you've done last week. Tremendous job, mate. With the reviewing Raw on your own was good. Like you say, I was out chucking beer barrels around to the nation, mate.
Santino was cool.
Santino was good. I really enjoyed everything.
Jeremiah Plunkett was actually
he seemed a good dude.
He was a dream. He was an absolute dream to interview. Yeah. He really was. And hopefully Sal will be, I'm sure he'll be staying tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. But so I will see you at 11 o'clock tomorrow night. I know you're going to also record the AEW review show during the day tomorrow, mate. And if you go and check us out on social media, you can also find us in the latest Inside the Ropes magazine, which is due out, I think, the end of next week.
27th this week.
27th, yep. So you can go and see, we've got a little advert in there. Go and check out the
new Instagram page.
New Instagram page is up, which we will be sharing on our social media. YouTube, you can go and check us out on YouTube. Just type Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. But we will be back tomorrow. Adam will be back dropping the AEW show. Just hit subscribe. I can't even keep up with all these shows. But it's a pleasure to talk some WWE with you, my man. And let's do it all again, probably every day next week. Till then, everybody, thanks for tuning into the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. I've been your host, Andy Burrows, with my good friend and tag team partner, Mr. Adam Cousins. Till next time, everybody, buckle down and stay safe.